The Boys is set in a universe where superpowered individuals are recognized as heroes by the public and work for the powerful corporation Vought International, which markets and monetizes them outside of their heroic personas. Most are arrogant and corrupt. The 7 Vought premier superhero team led by their leader, Homelander, which beneath his public image as a Nobel hero, he is narcissistic, sadistic, and cares little about the well-being of those he professes to protect. Followed by Queen Maeve, a veteran member of the 7 with enhanced physical strength and durability. The Deep, Black Noir, a translucent, an aspiring superhero. Annie January auditions as Starlight and has accepted to join the superhero group. Arriving at the 7th headquarters, she is greeted by the Deep, who blackmails her into performing oral sex on him. Then we have our real heroes, the Boys, vigilantes, looking to bring down Vought and its corrupt superheroes. The leader of the Boys and former SAS operator, Billy Butcher, who distrusts all individuals with superpower. He has a particular hatred towards Homelander, who he believes is responsible for the disappearance of his wife. Hughie Campbell, a civilian member of the Boys who joins the group after his girlfriend, Robin, is killed by a train. The Boys are rounded out by tactical planner, Mother's Milk weapons specialist, Frenchie. Butcher asks Hughie to take the settlement money and to secretly place a bug at 7 Tower. Annie meets Hughie by happenstance, and they motivate each other to stand up for themselves and face their challenges. Hughie plans. The bug, but translucent, discovers and confronts him. Butcher arrives and helps Hughie incapacitate translucent. Frenchie decides to play C4. Explosives in translucent ass. Translucent escapes his cage and convinces Hughie to let him go. However, Hughie changes his mind and detonates the C4, killing translucent. The Boys learn that a train takes a drug called Compound V at Vought headquarters. Homelander presents translucence remains to Stillwell along with Butcher's message, "Coming for you." The Boys find a hideout, holding an imprisoned Japanese woman they call the Female. Stillwell sends Homelander and Queen Maeve to save a hijacked tier liner, but after he accidentally destroys the control panel, Homelander abandons the plane and its passengers, forcing Maeve to leave with him before she can rescue them. Stillwell is pleased to see Homelander use the airliner tragedy to push for militarized subs, rousing the crowd with a speech, all while Maeve grieves for those she and Homelander allowed to die. At the Believe Expo, Starlight break script to speak candidly on Christianity, her sexual assault, and the compromises she made for her corporate employer. After a train kills Pop Claw for betraying him, he returns to her apartment and finds surveillance footage of Frenchie. In a hospital, Butcher and discover Vought is using Compound V on infants to manufacture subs years in advance, aware it was the Deep. Stillwell has him publicly apologized and transfers him to Sandusky, Ohio for a sabbatical. Butcher later tells you that Homelander raped his wife, who went missing shortly after. Frenchie and get help from telepath Mesmer to see into the female's mind, learning her name is Kimiko and that she was kidnapped by the Shining Light Liberation Army terrorist group. They also learn that Vought is making Compound V boosted terrorists to push their agenda for militarizing subs. Homelander asks Vought scientist Dr. Jonah Vogelbaum about Becca, who informed him she was pregnant with his child, but claims both died and Vought covered it up. Questioning the revelation's timing, Vogelbaum expresses regret, raising him in a lab, calling Homelander his greatest failure. Annie. He confronts Hughie, who explains Vought use of Compound V before Butcher arrives to exfil him and shoots her. Butcher takes Hughie to Colonel Grace Mallory, who refuses participation, but informs them about Homelander's connection to Stillwell and warns Hughie about Butcher's desire for vengeance. Homelander confesses to Stillwell that he secretly made the super terrorists. At a black site, Hughie helps Frenchie and free Kimiko before Starlight rescues them. A train arrives and briefly fights Starlight until he suffers a heart attack. Hughie applies CPR, but Starlight takes over so he can escape. Butcher takes Stillwell hostage and fits her with explosives to bait Homelander, who, after revealing the tortured Vogelbaum for the truth about Becca, kills Stillwell himself. Butcher detonates the explosives, but Homelander saves him and reveals to him that Becca has been hidden away to raise Homelander's son. While in shock, Becca and Billy watch. Homelander introduces himself to his son, and Ryan's eyes glow red with the same powers as his father. In Season 2, the boys become wanted fugitives, with Butcher framed for Stillwell's murder in hiding together. Hughie, Frenchie, and Kimiko learn that a superpowered terrorist with telekinetic abilities is on the loose. They attempt to inform Raina, but she is killed by an unknown assassin. Against Hughie's wishes, Frenchie contacts Butcher to lead the boys in facing the new threats. Hughie and Annie extort Vought test subject Gecko into stealing a Compound V sample. Homelander power over Vought is challenged when CEO Stan Edgar has superhero Stormfront join the Seven without his approval. The Deep joins Alistair Donner's Church of the Collective to regain favor with the Seven. Butcher arranges a deal with Mallory to capture the superpower terrorist in exchange for Mallory finding Becca's location. The boys later learn the terrorist is Kimiko's younger brother, Kenji, whom they manage to subdue. Homelander forces himself into the secluded facility Becca and Ryan are living in so he can become a father figure to his son and teach him about his powers. Homelander pushes Ryan into using his powers, which culminates in Ryan attacking Homelander to protect Becca. Using the sample she acquired from Gecko, Annie secretly leaks that Compound V is responsible for giving superheroes their powers. Disobeying Homelander orders, Stormfront kills Kenji, slaughtering several minority civilians in her pursuit and frames Kenji for their deaths. Edgar uses the destruction to argue that superheroes are necessary to prevent such incidents while casting Compound V as the work of rogue scientists led by Stillwell. Mallory provides Butcher with information on a superhero called Liberty and Becca's location. Butcher infiltrates the facility, but Becca refuses to leave because he does not accept Ryan. Protests emerge against Homelander when a video of him killing a civilian surfaces. Stormfront helps Homelander regain popularity, and the two enters a sexual relationship. Infiltrating Sage Grove Mom Frenchie and Kimiko discover captive Compound V patients. Frenchie recognizes an orderly as Lamplighter, causing a scuffle that allows patients to break out. Lamplighter is spared by Mallory, Frenchie's behest over his remorse for killing her grandchildren. Stormfront tells Homelander she is the first successful Compound V subject and founder, Frederick Vought widow, wanting him to lead the superpower to world domination. Meanwhile, Homelander and Stormfront manipulate Ryan into leaving Becca after Vought uncovers Annie's betrayal. Hughie convinces Lamplighter to join him in a rescue attempt, which results in the latter immolating himself. Annie escapes with the help of Maeve, who subdues Black Noir. Congresswoman Victoria Newman schedules a hearing against Vought. Butcher strong-arms Vogelbaum into testifying against Vought. However, the hearing is attacked by the assassin who killed Raina, resulting in the deaths of Vogelbaum and others. Learning from Becca about Ryan's capture, Butcher makes a deal with Edgar to help Vought reclaim him at Homelander cabin. However, Butcher reneges on the deal and attempts to save Becca and Ryan from Stormfront. When Stormfront attacks his mother, Ryan cripples her with eyes lasers, but accidentally kills Becca. Butcher forgives Ryan after the boy takes his side over Homelander, while Maeve uses the plane footage to force Homelander into letting them go. With Stormfront Nazi past leaked, Edgar halts his plan to sell Compound V as the boys are cleared of all charges and Annie is reinstated into the Seven. Adonna also has a train rejoin, but not the Deep. Before the assassin kills Adonna, Ryan is taken in by the CIA. Hughie gets a job with Newman, unaware she is the assassin. 1 year after the Stormfront scandal, the boys work as contractors for Victoria Newman's Bureau of Superhuman Affairs to apprehend rogue supes, with Hughie Campbell as their liaison. Vought CEO Stan Edgar appoints Annie January, who is now publicly dating Hughie, co-captain of the Seven, to repair Vought International's reputation and unsuccessfully attempts to sell V-24, a Compound V variant that temporarily grants superpowers to US. Queen Maeve secretly works with Billy Butcher and has him investigate Payback, a disbanded superhero team whose leader Soldier Boy mysteriously died, in hopes of finding a weapon capable of killing Homelander. She also gives Butcher several vials of V-24, which he considers using. Hughie encounters a man named Tony, who claims to be Newman's best friend and calls her Nadia. Suspicious, Hughie tails the pair into an alley, where Tony urges her to tell the truth about Red River. She refuses, prompting Tony to retaliate before she kills him with her powers, unaware of Hughie's presence. As the boys investigate Soldier Boy's death, Hughie visits Red River, an orphanage for superpowered children, and copies its records, learning that Newman is Edgar's adopted daughter. Frenchie and Kimiko confront Soldier Boy's widow Crimson Countess at a Vought theme park, but she escapes, inadvertently killing an innocent bystander in the process. After learning of Newman's powers from Hughie, Butcher takes a dose of V-24 and uses it to kill Soldier Boy's former sidekick, Gunpowder. Before dying, Gunpowder informs Butcher that Soldier Boy died in Nicaragua while on a CIA mission led by Colonel Grace Mallory. Mother's Milclin rejoins the boys, seeking to avenge his family's death at Soldier Boy's hands. After learning that Stormfront committed suicide, Homelander lashes out during his televised birthday celebration and goes on a spiteful rant, claiming he is the world's savior under persecution from Vought executives. Homelander's approval rating among rural white males skyrockets after his rant, subjecting him to less scrutiny from Vought executives. Homelander, now believing himself to be untouchable and threatening genocide, pressures Starlight into publicly posing as his lover and reinstating the Deep. Fearing for the safety of her ex-boyfriend Alex Supersonic, she pleads with him not to join the Seven. However, he does so to support her. Mallory reveals to the boys that Payback was deployed to assist the CIA against communists in Nicaragua during the Cold War, but were ambushed during an attack by Russian and Nicaraguan soldiers that left Black Noir mutilated and Soldier Boy missing in action, supposedly killed by a Russian superweapon. Butcher is enraged at Mallory for not disclosing the weapon's existence earlier and lashes out at Ryan before storming out. He then has Frenchie contact the latter's former boss, Little Nina Namenko, to arrange transport to Russia. Butcher meets Nina and negotiates the boys' travel to Russia in exchange for assassinating one of Nina's targets. Upon learning of the V-24, Hughie asks Butcher to let him use it. Butcher refuses, but Hughie secretly takes a dose and uses it to kill one of the Russian soldiers guarding a secret laboratory. Inside, Butcher discovers a still-living Soldier Boy, who releases an energy blast that depowers and wounds Kimiko before escaping. While escaping to stabilize Kimiko, Butcher theorizes the Russians experimented on Soldier Boy. During a press conference regarding Homelander's behavior, Newman betrays Edgar by accusing him of corruption. In return, Homelander provides Newman a sample of Compound V, which she injects into her daughter Zoe. Starlight recruits Maeve and Supersonic to help her face Homelander. Supersonic later attempts to recruit a Train after witnessing him being mistreated by Homelander and the Deep. However, a Train tells Homelander of the planned coup. Homelander later confronts Starlight with Supersonic's corpse and threatens to kill Hughie unless she complies with his demands. Frenchie admits Kimiko to a hospital, where she is overjoyed to find she has lost her powers. She and Frenchie bond and share a kiss, but Frenchie is later kidnapped by Nina. Hughie reveals his V-24 usage to a disappointed Starlight. Maeve gives Butcher another batch of V-24 before drinking and having sex with him. She is later captured by Noir and Homelander. Ashley Barrett is named Vaught's CEO after Edgar's departure. A Train tells fellow suit Blue Hawk to issue a public apology for using excessive force against African Americans, but Blue Hawk flies into a violent rage during the event and wounds several bystanders, including a Train's brother Nathan. Upon his return to America, Soldier Boy inadvertently causes an explosion, alerting the boys, and Butcher learned from former Vought executive the legend that Soldier Boy is going after Crimson Countess. They find and incapacitate her first at her chimpanzee sanctuary. Soldier Boy arrives and kills Countess as revenge for selling him out to the Russians. As Butcher decides to partner with him, Hughie joins them despite Starlight's protests. The Deep and Homelander uncover security footage of Soldier Boy killing Crimson Countess, leading Noir to cut out his tracking chip and disappear. Nina kidnaps Kimiko and Frenchie's former partner Cherie and forces him to choose who to execute. But Kimiko frees herself and kills Nina's henchman while Nina escapes. Newman privately reveals her powers to Starlight and proposes an alliance, but Starlight declines. Butcher and Hughie help Soldier Boy track down his former teammates in exchange for his help in killing Homelander. All parties converge at the TNT Twins' residence in Montpelier, Vermont, where they are hosting Herogasm, an annual soup orgy. After the Twins claim Noir also sold them out to the Russians, Soldier Boy accidentally releases another energy blast, destroying the building, killing the Twins and multiple guests, and injuring the rest. Soldier Boy and an empowered Butcher and Hughie join forces to overwhelm Homelander, but he escapes before Soldier Boy can nullify his powers. A Train uses his powers to kill Blue Hawk, then collapses from heart failure. A disillusioned Annie films a live stream announcing her departure from the Seven and publicly condemning Vought, Soldier Boy, and Homelander. Hiding out in an abandoned Buster Beaver's pizza restaurant, Noir is visited by his imaginary friends, the pizzeria franchise's mascots. They reenact his abuse at Soldier Boy's hands and how he led most of Payback in ambushing and trading him to the Russians on Edgar's behalf before convincing him to confront his fears and face Soldier Boy. A Train is successfully revived after receiving a heart transplant from Blue Hawk. Butcher, Hughie, and Soldier Boy seek Mindstorm, who subdues Butcher, trapping him in memories of his abusive father and the suicide of his little brother Lenny. Hughie convinces Mindstorm to revive Butcher in exchange for his freedom, but Soldier Boy kills Mindstorm shortly afterward. While retrieving Compound V for Kimiko at Vought, Annie discovers that V24 will kill users after 3 to 5 doses. Homelander confronts Annie regarding her livestream, but she records him confessing to his crimes and posts it on social media. Frenchie injects Compound V into Kimiko, healing her injuries and restoring her powers. Annie informs Butcher of V24's risks, but Butcher chooses to withhold this information from Hughie. Soldier Boy calls Homelander and reveals that he is his biological father. Homelander finds Ryan and reconciles with him. Unwilling to harm Hughie further, Butcher abandons him. Hughie meets with Annie to apologize. Maeve escapes Vaught's custody and meets with Hughie, Annie, and Homelander kills Noir for withholding the knowledge of him being Soldier Boy's son. Butcher and Soldier Boy meet with the boys, Annie and Maeve, and trap all but Maeve in a safe room before leaving with her to kill Homelander. When Ryan defends Homelander, Soldier Boy attacks him too, causing Butcher and the arriving Annie and the boys to fight Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy attempts to fire another blast, but Maeve tackles him away from the others while Homelander escapes with Ryan. Afterwards, the public mourns Maeve's apparent sacrifice, unaware that she is alive but depowered. Butcher becomes terminally ill due to his usage of V24, while Annie joins the boys and Soldier Boy is taken into government custody. Singer chooses Newman to run as his running mate in his presidential campaign after the Deep murders her rival. Homelander and Ryan attend a rally for Newman where Homelander murders a Starlight supporter for attacking Ryan, pleasing him and the crowd. The CIA sends the boys to assassinate Victoria Newman, but the mission fails when her daughter Zoe reveals her powers and violently attacks them. Meanwhile, Ryan learns Billy Butcher is dying due to his use of V24, with only months left. At the CIA, Butcher reconnects with Joe Kessler, who tries to pull him back into the fight against Supes. At the same time, Homelander, growing paranoid about aging and tired of blind loyalty, recruits the genius Sister Sage to reshape the Seven. Together, they orchestrate chaos. Sage manipulates events around Homelander's trial, leading to a riot after his not guilty verdict, while a train frames Starlight supporters by dumping bodies into the crowd. Butcher nearly makes a deal with Newman for the Red River files, but backs out after a haunting vision of Becca, and Hughie faces a personal crisis as his father suffers a stroke, forcing him to reconnect with his estranged mother. Butcher reveals he's dying, but the boys reject him and kick him out. Still, he secretly tracks them and helps spy on Sister Sage, who is recruiting the alt-right suit Firecracker at Truthkin. Meanwhile, a train, burdened by guilt, secretly gives Hughie and Annie files that clear the Starlighters of murder. Homelander and Sage stage Ryan's first public rescue, but it spirals when Homelander goes off script, pushing Ryan into accidentally killing a stuntman. In the end, Butcher tries to make things right with MM and rejoin the boys, but he's still turned away. Homelander brings Sister Sage and Firecracker into the Seven, naming Sage the new CEO while demoting Ashley to a powerless mascot. Meanwhile, Butcher teams up with Kessler to plan Ryan's kidnapping, but when he finally meets the boy, he hesitates and chooses to bond with him instead. At the same time, Annie confronts Firecracker, who reveals a deep grudge over a rumor that destroyed her career. Hughie and MM attempt to spy on Homelander, Newman, and Sage's plan to assassinate presidential candidate Robert Singer, but things go wrong when Homelander senses Hughie and nearly kills him until a train secretly saves him. Ryan returns home, and Homelander, shaken by his visit with Butcher, spirals into a disturbing mental breakdown. Meanwhile, Hughie clashes with his mother after she plans to take his father off life support. Desperate, Hughie and Kimiko obtain Compound V from a train to save him. At the same time, Annie tries to partner with presidential candidate Robert Singer to bring down Vought, but everything falls apart when Firecracker exposes Annie's past abortion, publicly destroying her image and ending the deal, leading to a violent confrontation between them. Elsewhere, Frenchie investigates Firecracker but is attacked by Ezekiel, only for Butcher to step in and later awaken to find Ezekiel mysteriously torn apart. Butcher admits he tried using Compound V to cure himself, but it only made his condition worse. In a shocking turn, Hughie's father wakes from his coma after being injected with V. After Hughie's father wakes from his coma, Daphne admits she gave him Compound V, but the side effects quickly turn deadly. Meanwhile, Butcher tells the boys about a virus capable of killing Supes currently in Newman's possession, and teams up with to seek Stan Edgar's help in retrieving it. Their search leads them to a farmhouse where V and the virus are being tested on animals, but chaos erupts when mutated creatures attack. They find Dr. Samir Shah, the last person with a sample, but are forced to use it to survive, destroying the remaining virus. Samir disappears and is presumed dead, while Newman secretly frees Edgar by killing his escort. Back at the hospital, Hughie's father, now unstable and powerful, accidentally kills patients before briefly regaining clarity, leading Hughie to make the heartbreaking decision to end his life. Elsewhere, Homelander declares the Seven will act as ruthless gods for the greater good, executing VNN anchor Cameron Coleman after framing him as a traitor. Frenchie, consumed by guilt, turns himself in, and in a final twist, Butcher reveals to Kessler that Samir is actually alive, and now his captive as he plans to recreate the deadly virus. The boys infiltrate Tech Knight's mansion during a high-profile party attended by Newman and the Seven, disguising Hughie as Webweaver. When Tech Knight uncovers Hughie's identity and prepares to torture him, the team storms in to save him. During the chaos, he shoots Sister Sage in the head before suffering a panic attack. But a train rescues him and gets him to the hospital, while Sage ultimately survives. Annie and Kimiko free Hughie and capture Tech Knight, forcing him to reveal that Homelander and Sage plan to turn his prisons into internment camps before his own butler, Elijah, kills him. Meanwhile, Homelander and Newman manipulate senators into turning against President Singer, and Firecracker confirms to Homelander that the real leak is still out there. Elsewhere, Butcher holds Samir hostage, forcing him to recreate a stronger version of the soup-killing virus, one powerful enough to kill Homelander, even if it risks wiping out all soups. As pressure mounts, Butcher realizes that Kessler is not real, but another hallucination like Becca, exposing that his deteriorating mind is being torn apart by the tumor caused by V. Butcher breaks Frenchie out of jail to help Samir finish the soup-killing virus, while steps down as leader and considers leaving with his family until a train convinces him to stay. The team uncovers a plot to assassinate President Singer using a shape-shifting soup. Meanwhile, Homelander, suspecting a leak, kills Webweaver, while Hughie fails to convince Newman to stand down. When Homelander sends the Deep and Black Noir Regiment 2 to eliminate the boys, a brutal fight breaks out, but a train and manage to save them. Enraged, Homelander fires Sister Sage after learning a train was the leak, though a train escapes the country with his family. At the same time, Ryan rebels against Homelander, publicly rejecting him before walking away. Frenchie and Kimiko reconcile over their shared guilt, but everything falls apart when Samir injects Kimiko with a virus and escapes, forcing Frenchie to amputate her leg to stop it from spreading. As Butcher collapses in a bar, the twist hits. Annie wakes up imprisoned, realizing she has been replaced by the shape-shifting soup as the assassination plot moves forward. As Butcher recovers, Mallory brings Ryan to see him and reveals the truth about Homelander, urging Ryan to kill him, but Ryan refuses, accidentally killing Mallory before fleeing. This pushes Butcher to fully embrace his darker side. Meanwhile, Homelander orders the Seven to eliminate anyone at Vought with incriminating evidence, leading Ashley to inject herself with Compound V to survive. As Frenchie continues developing the virus, the boys track President Singer in a bunker and uncover the shapeshifter posing as Annie. A fight breaks out, and the real Annie arrives just in time to kill her double. Everything escalates when Homelander exposes Newman as a soup on live TV, forcing her to seek Hughie's help in exchange for protection. But when the boys meet with her, Butcher intervenes, kills Newman with his new powers, and takes the virus. Sage reveals the plan has worked as Singer is arrested, allowing Speaker Stephen Calhoun to become president, pledge loyalty to Homelander, and declare martial law. The boys are ambushed and captured, except Annie, who regains her powers and escapes. In the end, Butcher drives off with the virus, and in a final tease, Homelander is shown where Soldier Boy is being held. And that's your full recap of The Boys Season 4. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, it really helps the channel grow. I'll see you in the next one.